Football is back. The New York Giants officially report to training camp on Tuesday, tomorrow, marking the beginning of the 2020 NFL season. This will be a crucial season for the Giants as they enter the year with a brand new coaching staff and a revamped roster. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, there will be no preseason this year, making training camp that much more important, especially for many of these younger players who would have had the chance to stand out in preseason but otherwise will not this season. Instead, the Giants' new coaching staff will have to gauge their players' talents through training camp. With that being the case, who are the top players or what are the top positions to watch during training camp in 2020? The undrafted free agent wide receivers are a group to keep an eye on at training camp. The Giants signed three notable undrafted wide receivers: Austin Mack, Dillon, and Benjamin Victor. The Giants' starting receivers in 2020 will be Sterling Shepard, Darius Slayton, and Golden Tate, but the fourth wide receiver slot is wide open. Corey Coleman is the favorite to earn that spot on the depth chart, but Giants fans should know better than anyone that an undrafted free agent could quickly impress and rise up a team's depth chart. See Victor Cruz. Corey Coleman has dealt with torn ACLs and other injuries throughout the entirety of his career, and Victor Cruz is a prime example because he was an undrafted free agent in 2010. He did tear his ACL in that preseason after having an impressive 3-touchdown performance against the Jets, but he did come back the next season, and the Giants won the Super Bowl that season. Victor Cruz was probably the best slot receiver in the entire NFL that year. So the first undrafted free agent wide receiver to get into is Benjamin Victor. He's arguably the most exciting receiver in the undrafted group. He's 6'5". He played at Ohio State for 4 years. And according to Pro Football Focus, Victor is NFL ready from a technical standpoint, but he's still underdeveloped physically. They also state that the play strength of NFL corners is going to be a problem for Victor. Regardless, Benjamin totaled 1,276 yards in his final 3 collegiate seasons, along with 17 touchdowns. Victor was a big play threat. He averaged at least 15 yards per reception in every season he played. What we have seen of Victor is limited, though. He had only 83 total touches in his collegiate career, so it's pretty unlikely that he'd be prepared for a full workload as a rookie. But he's definitely got some time to prove himself in training camp and earn a spot on the roster. Due to there being no preseason, training camp is going to be really important for him. Benjamin Victor is not the only undrafted free agent wide receiver that the Giants signed out of Ohio State. They also signed Austin Mack, who had an even smaller role in the Buckeyes offense over the past 4 years. Mack had 79 career receptions at Ohio State and totaled 1,050 yards and 6 touchdowns. According to Pro Football Focus, Mack was targeted on an average of 13.52 yards downfield, but managed just 1.56 yards per route run in his collegiate career. Mack was also considered to be an excellent route runner in college. He also has arm length in the 91st percentile and 10-inch hands, which is pretty impressive physically. He's not the fastest or most athletic guy, but he does have precision route running and the ideal body type, so that alone could get him a roster spot. Mack also has the ability to make some pretty spectacular contested catches, as you're going to see on the screen right now. Austin Mack has a really impressive highlight reel. If you look him up on Twitter or YouTube, you'll find him making some very impressive catches and running some extremely crispy routes. So I wouldn't be shocked to see Austin Mack earn a spot on this roster because he really does fit the Giants' mold of what they want in their wide receivers. They do want players with reliable hands and who can run really sharp routes. See Sterling Shepard and Golden Tate. They're both slot receivers, but they run extremely crispy routes, and they have very reliable hands. You can count on them anytime you throw the ball their way. So I think that Austin Mack is kind of similar in that way. He did have some drops in college, but his route running is what really makes him stand out and makes him seem like a fit in the Giants' offense. Dillon is the third notable undrafted free agent wide receiver that the Giants signed. Dillon ran a 4.29 time in the 40-yard dash at LSU's Pro Day, prior to Pro Days being shut down. Because of the COVID-19 pandemic, LSU was able to have theirs. Dillon is a speedy, athletic receiver that could contribute at least on special teams if he's not able to win a roster spot as a receiver. His speed alone makes him a viable kick return option. In 30 games with the LSU Tigers, Dillon caught 51 passes and totaled 634 yards and 4 touchdowns. He did not have a huge role in LSU's offense, but whenever he got the ball in his hands, his quickness and his speed was completely evident. He took off and looked like one of the fastest players on the field every time he had the ball in his hands. Moving on from the undrafted free agent wide receivers, the next position that I'm keeping a close eye on as training camp begins is the kicker position. As I'm sure you all know by now, the Giants cut Aldrick Rosas earlier this week due to his ugly legal situation. As a result, the Giants signed kicker Chandler Catanzaro to fill the position for training camp. Catanzaro has a career 83.8% field goal percentage and spent time with the Carolina Panthers and Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 2018. He was with the Arizona Cardinals from 2014 to 2016 and spent 2017 with the New York Jets, so he does have some familiarity kicking in MetLife Stadium. Catanzaro has a career-long field goal of 60 yards. He can certainly hit field goals from deep, but consistency has always been the issue with Catanzaro. In 2018, he was 0 for 3 on field goal attempts from 40 to 49 yards, but he was 3 for 3 on field goal attempts of 50 plus yards. So he's had no problem kicking it from way deep, but he's struggled to kick it from somewhat deep, which is kind of confusing and the problem with his consistency. Catanzaro is the only kicker on the Giants roster currently, but is more than a strong possibility that the Giants will add another kicker to the competition by the end of training camp. For competition by the end of training camp, a name that's been thrown out there is Stephen Gostkowski. He has clear familiarity with Joe Judge. Joe Judge was a special teams coordinator in New England for a long time, and Gostkowski was the kicker there for a long time. He's been one of the best kickers in the NFL throughout his career, but his career has kind of taken a step down in recent years. I think he was hurt last year, so he didn't kick for the Patriots, and now he's a free agent. So it would make sense if the Giants do sign Gostkowski, but that's speculation. We'll have to see what they decide to do as training camp begins. If they want to add some more competition to Catanzaro, I'm assuming that they will. The next key position to watch during training camp is the cornerback 2 position, the second starting outside cornerback position. That was held by Deandre Baker last season, but it might not be this season. Deandre Baker has been officially placed on the commissioner's exempt list. He is still a member of the Giants and will be paid as such. The commissioner's exempt list is kind of just like a paid leave. I will put a link to an article in the description for you guys to read up on it to help you understand. But basically, he will not count against the 53-man roster, but he's going to be part of the Giants roster. But the Giants are also not granting Baker permission to report to training camp, so he's not going to be there. The Giants are going to have to be running their drills with other players playing cornerback too, because that position is not held by Deandre Baker right now. Of course, they're going to wait and see if he's found innocent of these allegations, these charges that he has. He has 8 felony charges right now. But if he's found innocent, I'm sure they'll keep him on the team and give him a second chance. But even then, I don't know. Maybe they won't. Maybe they'll cut him anyway or trade him. But, of course, if he's found guilty, he's gone. He's going to jail. So the Giants are doing the right thing, staying silent here and not really getting involved. Just let the legal situation play out. They were hoping for him to get placed on the exempt list so that they didn't have to end up cutting him and then finding out that he was innocent. So they can just keep him on the roster. He won't count towards the roster. And the Giants can just hold on to him for now and see where he stands whenever his legal situation is ironed out. This makes training camp for the rest of the defensive backs even more important. Players such as Sam Beale, Corey Valentine, Julian Love, Darnay Holmes, they'll all compete and have a chance to earn that second starting outside cornerback position. The Giants secondary is a young and inexperienced bunch, so it will be important to see development out of the second to third year players as well as the rookies. Julian Love, as most of you guys know, we had him on Fireside Giants, the podcast on this YouTube channel, and we interviewed him, and he was very open discussing what his role was last year, and he said he played a lot of in-the-box safety, but he's comfortable anywhere. He's comfortable in the slot, he's comfortable at free safety, he's ready to play wherever they need him to, so the Giants could potentially have him try out that outside cornerback position and see if he succeeds there and maybe could earn that role in the regular season. Sam Beale and Corey Valentine both played a little bit of outside and a little bit of slot last year. They both struggled immensely. Corey Valentine looked pretty good as an outside cornerback last preseason, but then again, he was going against third stringers. He had a nice interception, but it was against a third string quarterback and a third string receiver, if I remember correctly. So it looked impressive, but it didn't show up in the regular season. He had the chance to cover Allen Robinson as a slot receiver against the Bears in Week 12, and he got completely demolished. Allen Robinson tore him to shreds. Sam Beale also, He was the 2018 supplemental draft pick of the third round for the Giants. He has not lived up to the hype ever since then. He's been injured. I think he was injured for 2 years, and then finally he played last year, but he really struggled. He didn't look all that impressive anyway. But hopefully, if he can bounce back this year and he can earn that starting outside cornerback role, that would be cool. I'd be all for it. I just don't see it happening. Then, of course, the rookie Darnay Holmes. Everyone has been really quick to pen him down as a slot cornerback, but that's just not fair to him. Let's see if he can compete at this outside cornerback position. I believe he can. Alex, my co-host on Fireside Giants, he also believes he can. Kyle Brandt of the Draft Network, one of the top NFL draft analysts in the industry, he believes Darnay Holmes is going to be an outside cornerback. There are plenty of people who believe this. It's just for some reason a lot of Giants fans have it implanted in their head that Darnay Holmes is only a slot cornerback. And I get the argument. Darnay Holmes, he's smaller, whatever. His skill set might work better on the inside, and he has a higher floor on the inside. He's going to be a good slot cornerback instantly. He'll be an upgrade over what we have there. But he could be a potentially really good outside cornerback if they give him a chance to start there. That's what he played throughout his collegiate career. But when he got to the Senior Bowl, they told him, "You're a little small. We want to see how you do in the slot." And he was super impressive in the slot. He turned heads, and that's how he rose up draft boards, and that's how the Giants ended up drafting him as a slot cornerback. But like I said, he was an outside cornerback in college. Now with this potential opening at cornerback 2 for the Giants, Deandre Baker, like I said, his future is in question, but even regardless of that, he's not going to be at training camp, so they're going to have players rotate in that position and see who plays the best. Darnay Holmes has a chance to really impress here and prove all of the doubters wrong, and if Darnay Holmes can be an impressive cornerback 2 in training camp, maybe he'll get some snaps there early on in the regular season and prove that that's where he belongs for the rest of the year. But at the same rate, it's kind of a position battle at slot cornerback as well. Corey Valentine, Darnay Holmes, Julian Love, same names there. They're going to be competing to see who gets the slot cornerback position. And that's also really important. Slot cornerback, NFL teams nowadays play so much nickel. Slot cornerback is basically a starting position. So Darnay Holmes, I think, regardless where he gets put, he's going to be a great player. But I'm really excited to see what he can do in training camp as an outside cornerback and see if he's actually able to win that job for the regular season. That's something that I'm really looking forward to watching in training camp. Now, unfortunately, as we all know, there will be no fans at training camp this year, which really sucks. I was really looking forward to going to training camp this year. I had the opportunity to go last year. Met Daniel Jones, took a cool picture with him. That was a lot of fun, and I got to watch him practice. I think I went to the first day of training camp, so I saw his first throws as a Giant, and it was really exciting and awesome, and I wish I could go see Xavier McKinney's first snaps as a member of the Giants in training camp. That would all be cool. I know I'm sure plenty of you guys viewing this are disappointed as well, but it is what it is. COVID-19 has really put a damper on life as we know it. Hopefully next year we'll be able to return to training camp and go watch our Giants play and practice in person. But anyway, make sure you're keeping up with training camp on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter at Anthony_Rivardo. Also follow Alex at AlexWilsonESM. We're going to be retweeting and posting all of the training camp highlights that we find on Twitter on our pages, so you can keep up with us, see all of that stuff, see all the Giants news as it breaks. We retweet, we write articles, all of that, so be sure you're in tune with us on Twitter. Also, check out the work we do on EmpireSportsMedia.com. So leave a like if you enjoyed. Make sure you subscribe for more great New York Giants content. Ring the bell so you don't miss a video. Comment down below. I love to interact with you guys, respond to as many comments as I can. Let me know who you are looking forward to watching during training camp in 2020. Who are you keeping your eye on this year? So anyway, that'll be all today. Catch you in the next one, guys. Have a good one.